Hey everyone, it's Christie with Chapter Chatter and Book Babble, and I am back to do my favorite video. We are going to film the March TBR, playing my brand new TBR Twister game. I'm super excited about it, and well, let's start with a tour of the board, so to speak. Now, I didn't make a big board like you see on a lot of the TBR games. I actually made a small version that I put into a like junk journal style. This is an old recipe binder, so you can see this is an old recipe planner, and I'm turning this into a journal that will record my reading for the year. And so we've got, this is a thunder space. This is the lightning space. This is a storm shelter space. And we'll talk about all this here in a minute. This is a twister space. This is a wind space. This is a storm siren. And I think that's everything except the F5 disaster space, which is right here. So if you're familiar with Stephanie's Bookverse, this game was totally inspired by her TBR Starhop, and so a lot of this works the same. However, if I land on the thunder spaces, I will eventually have cards that I will pull a card, but I haven't made those yet. So for right now, I've got a spinner wheel. And then also for the lightning, same thing. Now, thunder spaces are a little bit easier prompts. Lightning spaces a little bit harder prompts. Then I've got the, let's see. The storm shelter spaces are free spaces. I just roll again. I don't have to do anything there. I don't have to pick a book or anything. Twister spaces. If I land on a twister space, I have to roll a d4, and I have to pick however many books I roll out of my twister jar, and then I also have to move back to the previous twister, or if it's the very first twister, I have to move back to the beginning. If I roll a wind, if I land on a wind space, I roll a d6. If it's an odd number, I move backwards. If it's an even number, I move forwards. And to determine how far I move in whichever direction, I roll the d6 again. So I'll roll it to see which way I'm moving, then I'll roll it again to see how far. And then the storm siren spaces, I roll a d6. If it's a 1 to 3, I'm safe and I don't have to pick a book. I just roll again. If it's a 4 to 6, then I pick a book, and then I roll again. And so the way I would pick a book there would be, I would roll the d6. If it was a 1 to 3, it would be a thunder space. If it was a 4 to 6, it would be a lightning space. And then for the, that's it except the disaster space, the F5 tornado. If I land on the F5, this is the big one, right? So it wipes out my entire TBR. So everything that I've chosen to that point is wiped out, and I'm not allowed to choose it again this month. So what I would do is I would roll a D8, an 8-sided dice, and whatever I get, I have to choose that many books out of the twister jar, and then I have to move all the way back to the beginning and start all over. So say I rolled a 7, I would need to choose 7 books out of the twister jar, go back to the beginning, and start all over with those 7 books already on my TBR. Now, if I'm playing, I land on the F5, all this happens, and then I'm playing through and land on it again. That time I have to roll the D8 twice. So it could be as high as 16 books. If it's a third time, I have to roll it 3 times. That's my cap. 24 is the cap, because at that point I'm not going to read it all anyway. Because the chances of me reading that much in a month is just not high, right? It could happen. It could happen if the right books were chosen, but so yeah, so that's how this works. It's just like with Stephanie's book verse. If I complete my TBR in a month, then great. If I don't, I have additional twisters that will go on to spaces throughout the board. And if I then complete a TBR and I have one of those extras on there, I can remove it. So, pardon me, I'm sorry. So that's how it works. And let's just jump in and play. Story. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so since we hit the twister space, we're going to roll the D4 to see how many books we're going to pull from the twister jar. It's just one, just one. And it is throwing them out. Sometimes magic. Sometimes magic. Okay, so roll 1 landed us on a twister space, and we rolled the die. We only had to pick one book from the twister jar, which was wonderful, and we got sometimes magic, and this is sometimes magic. I don't know a whole lot about this book. I picked it up one day at the Friends of the Library, I don't know, probably several years ago, and sorry, trying to figure out where to put it. Picked it up at the Friends of the Library, and based entirely on the title. So all I know is that this is like a collection of stories for teenage girls, and it says, sometimes ecstatically happy, sometimes achingly sad, the teenage girl often feels that she is the most singularly unknown person in the world, a strange, isolated creature that no one can understand. Yet looking into these pages, she will find that she is not alone at all. In these moving and memorable stories, it says by such distinguished women writers as Dorothy Parker, B.J. Shute, Jane Austen, Edna St. Vincent Millay, Carson McCullers, and many others, she will find a bright reflection of herself and discover a unique and beautiful magic. So I think it's like a, it's just a short story collection that's, written for the teenage girl. So we'll see. We'll give it a shot. Sometimes magic. So we move back, and we got a 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Wind. So I'm going to roll the die. If I get a 3 and below, or I'm sorry, no, if I get a odd number, we're moving backwards. If I get an even number, we're moving forwards. It's an odd number, so we're going to roll it again. We're going to move backwards 3 spaces. 1, 2, 3. So now we have a thunder prompt. Whoop. Here we go. A 5-star prediction. A 5-star. That's a good one. I'm happy about that. I will take it. Okay, so the next roll got us a wind space, and we were blown backwards, and we landed on the thunder space. And so we got 5-star prediction, which is a great, it's a great prompt, right? Because it means find something that I think I'm really going to like. I chose The Changeling by Victor Laval. I think that's how you say his last name, Laval. I've had this book on my TBR for a while. I don't know a whole lot about it, but it sounds like it's going to be terrific. And I have heard some good things about it. So it says, when Apollo Kagwa's father disappeared, all he left his son were strange recurring dreams and a box of books stamped with the word improbabilia. Now Apollo is a father himself, and as he and his wife Emma are settling into their new lives as parents, exhaustion and anxiety start to take their toll. Apollo's old dreams return, and Emma begins acting odd, irritable and disconnected from their new baby boy. At first, Emma seems to be exhibiting signs of postpartum depression, but it quickly becomes clear that her troubles go even deeper. Before Apollo can do anything to help, Emma commits a horrific act beyond any parent's comprehension and vanishes, seemingly into thin air. So, yeah, this is kind of a long one. It's 431 pages. It looks like the people who had the book, I got this one at the Friends of the Library also. It looks like they did some highlighting. They've got some notes in there. That's going to be interesting to look at as I read through it. So, The Changeling by Victor Laval. Here we go. 6. 6 is a storm shelter space, and that is a free space, and all we need to do is roll again. 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We got another thunder space. 'A TBR vet. TBR vet. Okay, so our next roll got us the prompt TBR vet, meaning a book that's been on my TBR for a while. And I am choosing 12 Days of Terror. Sorry, 12 Days of Terror. I cannot find where to put it. I'm choosing 12 Days of Terror by Richard Fornicolo, I don't know. Anyway, this book is about shark attacks, and it's supposed to be like the true story that inspired the movie Jaws. I have started this previously. I only got to the second chapter, page 17. So yeah, this is going to be an interesting nonfiction. I do love to read about kind of this man versus nature, man versus beast situation. And I like a good nonfiction. So I think this will be an interesting read, and I'm excited about it. Okay, so 12 Days of Terror. Okay, next roll. A 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 is a lightning space. Read only with your eyes. Okay, so our next roll was a 4, and that got us a lightning space. And we got the prompt, read only with your eyes. The great thing about this prompt is I can choose any book I want, right? But I do have to read it only with my eyes. And because I struggle a bit with ADHD, sometimes I have a hard time reading with my eyes. I'm trying to actually retrain myself to do that. So I'm actually excited that I got that prompt because it will help with that. I chose If I Have a Wicked Stepmother, Where's My Prince This is by Melissa Cantor. And again, it's one that I picked up at the Friends of the Library, which is where I get a lot of my books. I don't know a whole lot about it, but it does say, wicked stepmother, check. Evil stepsisters, check. Miserable life, check. When Lucy Norton's father remarries and moves her from San Francisco to Long Island, Lucy finds herself living in a fairy tale in all the worst ways. Along with her wicked step monster and bratty stepsisters, she suddenly has a basement bedroom and a list of chores a mile long. At least Cinderella got Prince Charming. When Connor Pearson, the dashing prince of Glen Lake High, notices her, Lucy's life begins to change, and she finally starts looking forward to happily ever after. But sometimes the happy ending you get isn't the one you expect. Lucy's about to discover the truth about finding her real Prince Charming and herself. So, yeah, if I have a wicked stepmother, where's my prince? So we do not want a 6, and we do not want a 10. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Dang it. Okay, well, every book we've chosen to this point is now out of play. Oh my gosh. Okay, guys, let's roll and see how many books we have to pick. 5. We have to have 5. All previously chosen books are out of play. We have to have 5. Okay, here we go. And remember, guys, I told you that I only had like one shelf of my books in here. Like 28 books is all that I've managed to put in here so far. So, yeah. On Winding Hill Road. On Winding Hill Road. Okay, we landed on the F5 disaster space because, of course, we did. And it wiped out our TBR that we had building so far, meaning we cannot pick any of the books we had previously chosen for this TBR. So, and then we rolled a 5 on the D8, which means we're going to start over with 5 books already on our TBR. TBR Twister Jar gave me On Winding Hill Road by Diane Tyrell. And I don't know a whole lot about this, but this is a Gothic novel, and I do love Gothic literature. And it says, at the end of Winding Hill Road, buried in a woods of oak and wild rose and isolated behind an imposing stone wall, is the estate of reclusive Gadian de Fall. It's also the new home of young and beautiful Sarah Logan, who has accepted a position as a companion to Gadian's 13-year-old daughter, May. Oddly wise beyond her years, Sarah's puzzling charge is far from being a child. Puzzling, too, is Gadian himself. Okay, so On Winding Hill Road. Okay, there's one. Midnight for Charlie Bone. I have to look and see if that's the first one in the series. I will check. Okay, Midnight for Charlie Bone is in fact the first in the Children of the Red King series. It is a middle grade fantasy, and it says, what's happening to Charlie Bone? Charlie doesn't want to believe it when he discovers that he can hear the thoughts of people in photographs. But his horrible aunts are delighted. It means that he is one of the chosen and must attend the Bloor's Academy for Gifted Children. Once there, Charlie realizes that some of his classmates have equally mysterious powers, and soon Charlie is involved in uncovering the mysterious past of one of them. So it sounds like it's going to be a cute book. It's been one of the reviews said that it was almost as good as Harry Potter. Now, I don't know about that, being a huge Harry Potter fan, but we'll find out, right? We can always hope it would be that good. It does have some nice large print, and so should go fairly quickly. There are 401 pages, but again, nice large print. So, and it's a middle grade. Middle grades go fast, right? So, Midnight for Charlie Bell. I'm excited. Plain Bad Heroines. Okay, the next pick out of our Twister jar gave us Plain Bad Heroines. This is by Emily Danforth. This is a long book, guys. She's chunky. It is 614 pages. Okay, let's see what it has to say about Plain Bad Heroines, because, yeah, I don't know a whole lot. Oh, look, there's a map. This book's kind of falling apart a little bit. It's another one I picked up at the Friends of the Library. Sometimes they're in really good shape, sometimes not so much. Okay. Our story begins in 1902 at the Brookcant School for Girls. Flo and Clara, two impressionable students, are obsessed with each other and with a daring young writer named Mary McLean, the author of a scandalous best-selling memoir. To show their devotion to Mary, the girls establish their own private club and call it Plain Bad Heroine Society. They meet in secret at a nearby apple orchard, the setting of their wildest happiness and ultimately of their macabre deaths. This is where their bodies are later discovered with a copy of Mary's book splayed beside them, the victims of a swarm of stinging, angry yellowjackets. Less than 5 years later, the Brookcant School for Girls closes its doors forever, but not before 3 more people mysteriously die on the property, each in a most troubling way. This sounds really good. Plain Bad Heroines. I'm looking forward to it. That was 3. The Lioness and Her Knight. Okay, The Lioness and Her Knight is number 7 in the Squire's Tales. I want to look. Number 1 is The Squire's Tale. Let me see if I can get it. Okay, the 4th pick in our Twister jar was The Lioness and Her Knight by Gerald Morris. However, as I mentioned, this is the 7th book in the series, and so this is not one that we will read. But the first book in the series is called The Squire's Tale, and I can actually read it on Everand. So we're putting The Squire's Tale on the TBR. And what it says about The Squire's Tale on Goodreads: life for the young orphan Terence has been peaceful, living with Trevisan, the old hermit, in a quiet, isolated wood. That is, until the day a strange green sprite leads him to Gawain, King Arthur's nephew, who is on his way to Camelot hoping to be knighted. Trevisan can see the future and knows that Terence must leave to serve as Gawain's squire. From that moment on, Terence's life is filled with heart-stopping adventure as he helps damsels in distress, fights battles with devious men, and protects King Arthur from his many enemies. Along the way. And then for number 5, and we'll put that one back in when we're all done. Number 5, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I can do that. Absolutely. All right. Okay, I am super excited about the 5th pick from the TBR Twister jar. This is Charlie and the Chocolate Factory by Roald Dahl. Is it Roald Dahl? And this is the book that inspired Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, which is one of my all-time favorite movies since I was much younger. This book is very short. It is 162 pages. It's going to go super, super fast. It's a really cute book, and I know that I will get through this in no time. I love it. I'm excited for it. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Okay, so, and we are back at the beginning, guys. We got 5 books in the TBR. A couple of them are quite long, and we're back at the beginning. So, yes. 3. 1, 2, 3. That is a storm shelter. That means we are safe. We do not have to choose a book. We can just roll again. 10. Not bad. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Thunder. All right. Let me pull up our thunder. And here we go. An audiobook. Okay, our next roll got us an audiobook, which is one of my favorite prompts. And I am going to be reading Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. This is probably the 3rd time I've tried to read it. The first 2 times I just wasn't in the right headspace. I couldn't concentrate on it. So I'm hoping that I'll have much more success this time. What it says about Ready Player One, it says, in the year 2044, reality is an ugly place. The only time teenage Wade Watts really feels alive is when he's jacked into the virtual utopia known as the Oasis. Wade's devoted his life to studying the puzzles hidden within this world's digital confines, puzzles that are based on their creators' obsession with the pop culture of decades past and that promise massive power and fortune to whoever can unlock them. But when Wade stumbles upon the first clue, he finds himself beset by players willing to kill to take this ultimate prize. The race is on, and if Wade's going to survive, he'll have to win and confront the real world he's always been so desperate to escape. It sounds terrific. I've heard really good things about it and Ready Player 2, which I also own on audio. So I'm excited to hop into it and see what I think. All right, Ready Player 1. Next. 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have a lightning space. And here we go. Try a chapter. So the way Try a Chapter is going to work is I'm going to choose 4 different books off of my physical shelves, and I'm going to try a chapter of each of those with you guys on camera, and then we will decide which one I'm going to read. So yeah. Okay, our next roll got us a try a chapter space or try a chapter prompt. The four possibilities that I have chosen, I'm sorry, I get itchy when I get nervous. The four possibilities I have chosen are Give the Dark My Love by Beth Revis. This is the first book in the Give the Dark My Love series. Um, and I don't know very much about it. It says 17-year-old Nidra Brystein leaves her home in the rural northern territories of Lunar Island to attend the prestigious Yogan Academy with only one goal in mind: master the trade of medicinal alchemy. A scholarship student matriculating with the children of Lunar Island's wealthiest and most powerful families, Nidra doesn't quite fit in with the other kids at Yugan. And on the back it says, I saw death itself. It was a feral thing made of smoke and shadow. It was hollow and empty and hungry. Sounds really good. It is not terribly long. It's 352 pages, so it's not a short book, but it's not horribly long. So this is our first possibility. Then for the second possibility, we have Roseblood. This is by A.G. Howard, and it says, her greatest talent is also her greatest curse. The music crescendos and the soloist's voice looms over it. Wait a minute, I can't see that. It says, shortly after arriving at the Roseblood Conservatory, Rune starts to believe something otherworldly is indeed afoot. The masked boy she's seen frequenting the graveyard beside the opera house doesn't have any classes at the school and vanishes almost as quickly as he appears. When Rune begins to develop a secret friendship with the elusive Thorn, who dresses in clothing straight out of the 19th century, she realizes that with his musical guidance she feels cured. Thorn may be falling for Rune, but the phantom haunting Roseblood wants her for a very specific and dangerous purpose. As a friendship deepens to romance, Thorn is faced with an impossible choice: lead Rune to her destruction, or save her and face the wrath of the phantom, the only father he's ever known. Interesting. I don't know. We can try it. Roseblood. All right, and another possibility is Scythe by Neil Shusterman. This book I have started previously, but I don't think I got very far into it, and I got sidetracked with something else. This is the first book in the Arc of a Scythe series. So it was very popular on BookTube not that many years ago, and I'm excited to give this one a try, to give a chapter of this one a try. It says, thou shalt kill a world with no hunger, no disease, no war, no misery. Humanity has conquered all those things and has even conquered death. Now scythes are the only ones who can end life, and they are commanded to do so in order to keep the size of the population under control. Citra and Rowan are chosen to apprentice to a scythe, a role that neither wants. These teens must master the art of taking life, knowing that the consequence of failure could mean losing their own. They learn living in a perfect world comes only with a heavy price. So yeah, scythe. That's another possibility. And then the fourth possibility for the try chapter is A Witch in Time by Constance Sayers. This is one that's been on my TBR for a while, and I've been really, really wanting to get to it. So we'll see. I'm hoping that the first chapter is as good as I want the book to be, so that I can jump into it and read it, because it's really been on my radar for a long time. It's got nice deckled edges, and it says, Helen Lambert has lived several lives: a young piano virtuoso in 1890s Paris, an actress in 1930s Hollywood, a rock star in 1970s Los Angeles. Only she doesn't know it until she meets a strange man who claims he's watched over her for centuries, bound to her from the beginning. At first, Helen doesn't believe him. Her life is as normal as any other modern career woman's. Then she begins having vivid dreams about ill-fated love and lives cut short. Caught in a curse, Helen will be forced to relive the same tragic events that ruined her previous lives. But with each rebirth, she develops uncanny powers, and as the most powerful version of herself, Helen must find a way to break the curse before her time runs out. So, A Witch in Time. These are the four possibilities for the try a chapter, and I'm excited about this. I am going to film this separately though, and then we will make a decision, but that'll be a separate like vlog thing that I'll do later, so later in the month. So yeah, all right, let's jump into the next row. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 is a thunder space. A reread. A reread. That's a good one. A reread. Yes, can do. Okay, so our next prompt was a reread, which is always a super easy, fun prompt, right? And I am going to be rereading Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. This is by Ransom Riggs, and I did read almost the entire series years ago. I have all of them except the last one that he wrote, and I want to purchase it and read it, but before I do, because it's been so long, I want to read through this whole series again. So I've been excited to get to this. I just hadn't picked it up yet. It was actually on my February TBR, but I didn't get to it, so here's hoping we'll get to it in March. This is just over 300 pages long. It's not terrible, but yeah, I'm excited for it. Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. It's the next one on our TBR. All right, next. A 2. 2. Oh, that's wind. Guys, if this is an even number and I have to move forward and I roll a 2, I'm going to scream. It's an odd number. We're moving backwards. We're moving backwards. How many spaces? 1. Okay. Are we in lightning or thunder? We were in thunder. We need lightning. Okay, a new to you author. I can do that. I can do a new to you author. Okay, this is starting to really grow into a big TBR, guys. Okay, so our next prompt was a new to you author, and I have chosen The Hearse You Came In On by Tim Cockey, and I don't know anything about this book at all. I chose this book at the Friends of the Library because of the cover and the name of the book. It just sounded like it would be a lot of fun. It says, when a beautiful woman shows up at a funeral home wearing a tennis dress, that's cause for suspicion. When that same woman wants to talk about her own funeral arrangements, well, what self-respecting mortician could resist? Certainly not Hitchcock Sewell, Baltimore's most eligible undertaker and hero of this suspenseful new mystery. Bemused and bewitched by this alluring mystery woman and her funeral fixation, Hitch's growing obsession soon draws him into a string of increasingly life-threatening circumstances involving blackmail, dirty videos, police corruption, and political cover-ups, not to mention murder. Before Hitch knows it, he's in deep, and if he's not careful, he could find himself 6 feet under. This sounds really good. It doesn't look like it's terribly long. It's just over 300 pages, so not too bad. So yeah, we're going to put this on the TBR, the hearse you came in on. Please no threes. No threes and no sevens, but especially no threes. A 2. Okay. 2 means we cannot land on the F5. Okay? We can't. So 1, 2. That's a thunder space. That's actually a good position to be in. Although I would have liked for it to have been a little bit larger than that, but you know. A gifted book. My husband just bought me a bunch of books for my birthday, and my son and daughter also did, so I can do a gifted book. Okay, guys. Our next prompt was a super easy one. It was a gifted book. I just got several books for Christmas and my birthday a couple of months ago. And so it was easy, but I may regret what I'm going to do. So my son bought me The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. This is definitely a reread for me, but this is a brand new edition. It's got beautiful sprayed edges. It's got illustrations throughout. Let me show you. Like this. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous book. And I've been wanting to reread it. But I have a pretty big TBR going this month already. So I may regret this, but I am going to put The Hobbit on my TBR for March. Cross my fingers and hope that I can complete it. Okay, moving on. All right, we do not want a 5. We do not, anything except a 5 will be fine. We do not want a 5. 7. Yes, sir. We can do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 is a lightning space, and absolutely on our next roll we're going to finish. So that is the good news. A random letter title. Okay. Let's see. Do I still have my random letter thing up? Yes. All right, let's see what happens. I'm going to hit this 3 times, and whatever comes up, that's the letter we're going to take. 1, 2, 3. P. So we need a title that starts with P. Okay. Okay. For our next prompt, and the next to the last one, we got a random title letter P. So the title has to start with this random letter, and in this case we got P. Surprisingly hard, but I did come up with 4 options, and I don't know, there's a couple of, well, there's at least there's one of them I'm not sure if it's a part of a series, so we'll see. That one is Persian Nights by Diane Johnson. And this one, the young, pretty, and unliberated wife of a successful doctor, Chloe Fowler, has barely arrived in Iran when her husband is summoned home unexpectedly. Left alone to explore the heady wonders of this exotic country on her own, Chloe is inexplicably drawn to its mysterious customs and traditions. As she travels deeper into a strange and tantalizing culture of veiled women and seductive, dangerous men, she discovers an Iran the tourists never see, on a life-affirming journey of enlightenment, self-discovery, and love that will transform her conventional life forever. This one is only 352 pages long, so that's not bad. Sounds like it could be a really interesting read. I haven't read any books set in Iran, so that would be an interesting dive. So that's a strong possibility. We also have John Green's Paper Towns. I just picked this one up yesterday at the thrift shop. And so it says, who is the real Margot? Quentin Jacobson has spent a lifetime loving the magnificently adventurous Margot Roth Spiegelman from afar. So when she cracks open a window and climbs into his life, dressed like a ninja and summoning him for an ingenious campaign of revenge, he follows. After their all-nighter ends and a new day breaks, Q arrives at school to discover that Margot, always an enigma, has now become a mystery. But Q soon learns that there are clues, and they're for him. Urged down a disconnected path, the closer he gets, the less Q sees the girl he thought he knew. So that sounds really interesting as well. And this one is, mm, this one is, oh goodness, 305 pages long. Again, not too bad. It's a little shorter than Persian Nights, but it's not bad. Then we have, this one might be a little bit of cheating. I'm not really sure. It's the Seven Professors of the Far North, and I skipped the seven and just went with the P and Professors because, yeah, because that just made the most sense to me. The Seven Professors of the Far North by John Fardell, and this is a middle grade adventure type book. It says, Sam never dreamed his vacation with Zara and Ben would turn into a life or death rescue mission to the Arctic Ocean. But Zara and Ben's great uncle has been kidnapped along with 5 of his professor friends. Now the children are alone with just 3 days to make a seemingly impossible journey and save the prisoners from the murderous clutches of the 7th professor, the sinister Professor Murdo. Their struggle will test their inventive powers to the limit as they decrypt hidden messages, discover secret passages, hurtle over and under dangerous sea ice, infiltrate a heavily guarded island, and uncover the terrible extent of Murdo's evil plans. So this sounds like a really cute adventure. It sounds like it would go really quickly. It's only 216 pages long, so it's super short. So this is a strong contender. And then the last one is Portrait of a Killer, Jack the Ripper, Case Closed by Patricia Cornwell. I have really been wanting to read this book. This has been sitting on our shelves for a long time. I believe my husband has already read it. I have really been wanting to read it. I just have not gotten to it. I think at one point I picked it up and started it, but I was not able to get very far into it. It has a lot of pictures, really intriguing things, and I would be thrilled to hear what Patricia Cornwell has to say about the Jack the Ripper case, because that's a really strong interest of mine. In fact, I almost did my dissertation on it. So, yeah, I really want to read this. I really, really want to read this. But it is so long. It's, you know what? It's only like 350 pages. That's weird. It seems like it's much longer than that. It must have really thick pages or something. Oh, I really want to read it. I do. But I've got a really big TBR. Guys, oh my goodness. I'm going to go with the Seven Professors of the Far North. This will be an easy read, and it's middle grade, and I love middle grade, and okay, the Seven Professors of the Far North. This is the one. It's going on with TBR. Okay, that's the next to the last prompt. Let's go back to that. And we're done. And the last one is a free pick. Okay, we have reached the end at last. And the final pick for the game is always a free pick when we get to the end. And so in this case, I am going to be putting The Thursday Murder Club by Richard Osman on this TBR. This is the March read for the Journal Jive and Book Dive, which is a book club crafting journaling thing that we do over at my Facebook group, my crafting Facebook group, which is Junk Journals and Creative Visions. And so this is our March read, so it's a must for me anyway. So I am going to put The Thursday Murder Club on the TV. So I was just getting comfortable to sit and watch through the video before uploading it to make sure everything was right. And I realized that I forgot to mention the 2 carryover books I have from my February TBR. Now, there were a lot of books on my February TBR that I didn't complete that I just put up, but these 2 I'm already into, so I am going to try and carry these over. This one is Ghosts of East Anglia. I'm not really feeling this book. I am on page 23, and I've been thinking about DNFing. So I don't know if I'll actually finish it, but DNFs count. So yeah, The Ghosts of East Anglia is going on there. This is just a collection of short stories about real life ghost encounters or whatever. It's just not real thrilling. It's not giving me anything. Some of the stories are just like, nothing really happens, you know. So I'm not real thrilled with it, but it's also really short. It's only 145 pages if I can just make it through it. But like I said, I'm on page 25 and already thinking about DNFing, so I don't know. But this one is on my TBR also. And then the other one is The Train to Impossible Places. This one, love my bookmarks, right? This one is a middle grade. It's a cute tale. I've just barely started it. It's got some cute little illustrations. I was on page 31 and I was enjoying it. My problem comes in with the reading with my eyes, right? So I'm working on it, and unfortunately, it works through really slowly. I love the illustrations, though; they make me so happy. So yeah, this one I am definitely keeping on my TBR because I want to finish A Train to Impossible Places. TBR. So that's it. Wow, it's going to be a big reading month. Here's what we have. Oh, I can't. So these are most of them. This doesn't include the try a chapter or the Ready Player One. So we have Plain Bad Heroines, Unwinding Hill Road, Midnight for Charlie Bone, The Lioness and Her King, Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, The Hearse You Came In On, The Hobbit, The Seven Professors of the Far North, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Ready Player One, and then, and we won't actually be reading The Lioness and the King. That's just filling in for The Squire's Tale. And then whichever one of these 4 books on the try a chapter we decide on. And these are, again, A Witch in Time, Give the Dark My Love, Roseblood, and Scythe. It's a huge, huge TBR, guys. I'm throwing stuff all over the floor. I'm very nervous about this, but I'm also very excited. I've got some great books in here. and it's going to be a really good reading month. Thank you so much for coming along with me as I explored my game for the first time. It's been exciting. It's been fun. I love it. Not so much the disaster space, but even that was fun because it gave us all a chance to try that out and see what would happen. So yeah, thank you so much, and thank you for being here, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye.